Your hosts, Landon and Jade, are a married couple of 17 years and counting, are here to give you a swift kick in the ass. There will be some tough love, but we are here to support you to the greatest life you can have. We will bring the sarcasm and humor. You just bring yourself. Hey guys, welcome to the Backroads to Us podcast. You've got Jade and Landon here for you today. And today we're talking about growing together. We see couples go through a lot of growing pains. Some can work through it, some can't. So we kind of want to go over some of those issues that we see a lot of people having that we've had ourselves and maybe find ways around them, or maybe you don't. So we kind of want to talk about how do you allow each other to grow without feeling abandoned. And we know a lot of times that can cause rifts in a marriage. It can cause marriages to end. It can go a lot of different directions. So I'm going to start out with reading a quote I found. I found it on Pinterest, so it doesn't really have any reference of who it is. But it says, the best partner for you doesn't always roll over. They force you to up your game and evolve when they do. They pleasure you in ways that you never thought were possible and press you in places that you never wanted to reveal. The most remarkable partner will challenge you to discover what you really want from life, transforming you from a bud to a bloom. Okay, so let's talk about growing pains. What is a growing pain? I think growing pains can be both emotionally and physically attributes. So I would say, let's talk about emotional growing pains. When you marry, obviously, you know this person, you know their personality. As you grow together, life's going to come at you. And maybe life's going to throw you some curves you didn't expect. And you may get really down in the dumps. You may get depressed. Maybe you just don't bounce back from it very quickly. And usually you take that out on your partner. Take it out on the person closest to you. You don't mean to, but they're just there trying to love you. And you're just mad. You're sad. And they're the closest person. So sometimes when that happens, I think some people are aware enough that they can get out of that situation themselves. Some of them can talk to themselves about it. They can talk themselves through it. They can talk to their partner. They can talk to a friend. Maybe they just need a couple days, a week, and they can get themselves out of the funk. Sometimes they don't. And they go on for days, weeks, months, hell, even years. You see those people that are always just depressed and always just sad. And no matter what you say, it's always poor me. And it's like no matter what you say to them, no matter how much you try to help them, look on the bright side, let's do this. Anything you tell them, and it's just nope. It's horrible. Like it's gloom and doom all the time. And I feel like in that situation, you just really want to tell them to then just fuck off. Like sit in your hole, in your dark hole, and cry because you are not willing to let somebody help you. You're not willing to let anyone even have a conversation with you because you're already predetermined you're going to be mad. You're going to be sad, and that's just your life now. If that's your case, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that's your own fault. You need to figure your shit out. You need to try to get better. But the hard part is when you're in a relationship with someone and you're that way, how would you even come to me if I'm depressed for weeks or months on end, which it's happened before. I've gone through phases, ups and downs in the past because I couldn't self-regulate my emotions very well. I had to go through a lot of growing, a lot of meditating, a lot of self-healing in order to get better. But when I went through those, what was that like for you? I mean, did you feel helpless? Did you not know what to do? Did it frustrate you?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's always frustrating. You try to help the person, I guess, but come up with ideas or ask them what they need or try to just be there for support. And if they're not wanting to do something, I guess you don't do it or whatever. But I mean, there comes to a point where I guess at some time you've had enough of it, and you got to tell them just to get their shit together and knock it off. I guess because I mean we seem to have today's day and age. There's a new term. There's a new syndrome. There's a new
Yeah.
whatever for everything instead of just knock it the hell off and be part of life. and
Yeah.
be a happy person. And if it's not your spouse that you're trying to help, I mean, those people that are always negative and poor me and whatever else, I mean, you just got to get the hell away from them, because it doesn't do you any good, and it brings you down, because their attitude and their emotions wear off on you, and then you become
Hmm.
that negative person. So it's a little bit different with your wife or your husband, because you're trying to help them out of that situation and figure out what they need. But I mean, that help only goes so far if they're not willing to accept it.
If they won't help themselves.
And if they're not willing to help themselves, then that's the point where you got to have that more of that come to Jesus talk with them and say, I've had enough. Like, I'm sick of you sitting in the room, or I'm sick of you sitting on the couch. Let's go to the gym, or let's go here, and we're done. Like, we're not going to act like that anymore. Like, whatever your problem is, maybe it's because you're sitting on the couch doing nothing. Whatever your problem is, maybe it's because you're not going to the gym. Maybe you don't feel good about yourself. Well, do something about it. Like, it's probably, I don't know, people when they see this podcast, everybody's got the things they like, things that offend them, whatever. But I mean, I'm telling you, it may not make a lot of people happy. They may not like it, but we listen to Joe Rogan.
Yep.
Like, a lot of people don't like the guy, but sorry, this podcast isn't about what you like. It's we're telling you what we like. I'm not telling you to do it. I'm not telling you have to do it. It's just the experiences we've had. But I mean, he says a lot of the times and stuff, he says those negative people, you just got to get away from them, because I don't want that around me. You just got to get away from me.
Hmm.
Maybe we can't be friends anymore. I mean, at some point, maybe that person's not willing to get out of their funk, and they want to be selfish. I mean, because it's a selfish behavior.
Yeah.
Maybe they want to be that way, and maybe you just can't be around them. And maybe that's just part of it. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to get around it. I mean, he's got another guy that he puts on his podcast quite a bit. And I know a lot of people don't like him, but David Goggins is a very, very
Love
blunt,
him.
very
Yes.
blunt guy. People don't like him because he's honest, but he's more very black and white, straightforward. Can be have some rude honesty to it,
Yeah.
where he gets to the point where it's like, if you're overweight and somebody's calling you fat, maybe the problem is you are fat and you need to fix it. Maybe it's a wake up call. Like, if somebody calls you dumb, don't take offense to it and start thinking, why are they calling me dumb? Maybe I can fix it. Maybe I need to do some studying, or maybe I need to do some research and get some knowledge on the subject. Or if someone does say, hey, what, you're overweight or you're fat, don't take offense to it. Maybe look in the mirror and say, what, I'm not that healthy. Maybe it's a wake up call to fix it.
Hmm.
Like, get out of your funk, go to the gym as a couple. Like, start researching it as a couple. Maybe it gets you out of your mood, because I'll tell you what, you get up in the morning and you go to the gym, and your whole day is completely different.
Yeah. it
Like,
is.
your attitude's different. You feel better. You just feel energized. I mean, you may be tired at the gym, but the rest of the day just feels better when you can do it. So maybe you need to start doing some activities or some things that get you away from thinking about your funk or your attitude, or
Mhm.
your I'm always depressed. Like, do something so you're not thinking about it. I mean, like you said, you've done had to do a lot of meditating. I mean, I don't know, that's not for everybody, but I mean, in our experience, it's worked.
Have you seen a difference since I started doing
Oh yeah, I
that kind
mean,
of stuff?
it a little bit more. I think you're a little bit more self-aware, and just like in control of how you see things, more comfortable with things, more in and out that way. I mean, I think it does help. I mean, it's hard to get into. I don't do it. It's not something that maybe I'm not okay with, or I don't know. I mean, partly the reason why I don't do it, I think, is because if I lay down for 30 seconds, I'll fall asleep. I mean,
Yeah, he
the,
would.
the meditating kind of ends when you lay down and can just fall asleep. So, I mean,
Well, do you think that's part of it too? Is so that worked for me, but I know it doesn't. Right now, you're not open to it. That's not what you want to do. So for me, when I'm like, hey, I read this really good, whatever self help book maybe, or a lot about internal and dealing with your traumas and things like that, and I'm like, oh, this is so good. I really like it, and I'll tell you something sometimes, and we can have a conversation about it. Even though you're not into it, you still allow me the space to talk about it, and you've seen it better me, so you allow me to do it. I mean, I'm not harming myself, I'm not doing anything, I'm becoming a better person. You may not do whatever I'm doing, but you're letting me do
well,
it.
and I think a lot of that's the way you come off and say it, because like there's a lot of things I've noticed that, like, if I say, hey, we need to do this, or maybe you should do this, or whatever, I think some couples or partners take offense to it. Like, you're telling me what to do. And then if I like say something, maybe it doesn't come across right. But if I go find the article or find a podcast that they talk about it and show you the podcast, then all of a sudden it's a good idea because it didn't come from me, which I guess it's whatever. I mean, it's nothing to take offense to, but at least there's another way to get the information to you. So maybe you'll try it, whether you want to do it because I told you or because you heard somebody talk about it and like, oh, maybe that's a good idea, which I guess either way you do it. Okay. I mean, maybe you got to be careful the way you put the information out there because like you said, if it's your partner, maybe they offended by the fact that you're saying, okay, you've gained some weight or you've done this, or you need to work on your mental health, or you need to work on this, or I don't like your attitude when we're doing this, or whatever. Now, maybe you find the information somewhere else. Maybe you find it in a podcast. Maybe you find it from just any source and have them read something or have them listen to the podcast, and maybe it clicks because they hear it in a different manner or they hear it from a different source. And regardless or not, if they take your advice or that same advice from another source, don't get offended if it's not from you. Just be happy that maybe they're finding a way to get out of that.
Well, I think a lot of times it's the fact that I have to connect to what is either being said or portrayed or whatnot, because you could tell me something that maybe you're interested in that you think I'd be interested in. You could tell me 5 different ways, but if I'm not connecting with the material you're giving me, maybe I'm not hearing the whole thing, and I needed this one little bit that really made it click for me, then I don't listen that well to it. I'm definitely the person, if you tell me not to do something, that offends me. Or if like you tell me to do something, I'm like, no, don't tell me what to do. That's always my person. I've had to work on that. So sometimes when the other person's saying, well, you should probably do this, it's like, well, no, don't tell me what to do. And like I said, I've had to work on that. So if I get kind of the information in a softer way, I guess in a way that I can take it, I can ingest it in my own way, and I still come out with the result you wanted, I just had to take it in a different form kind of way. But I think you're right. Sometimes other people in our lives are very toxic, and you definitely have to cut those individuals out. Maybe it's not necessarily a person, maybe it's something else in your life. Maybe you watch something you shouldn't, eat something you shouldn't, drink something you should. Maybe the toxic is all over. And our world is very toxic in so many ways, shapes, and forms. So I think you have to be aware enough to cut those things out of your life. And I also think that we kind of touched a little bit on it. So we talked about emotionally. Now, your emotional health is very, very connected to your physical health. Like the happiest people and the most grounded people are really the healthiest people. The people who take care of their health in everything, because your mind and your body are connected. I feel like if you have some issue, if you stress, if you have anxiety, your body showcases that in a lot of different ways. For me, if I get anxious or I get stressed, my stomach bloats, I get aches, I get pains. So if I start feeling that, I started to learn to take a step back and go, okay, I haven't been doing anything else, but I'm feeling very holding water and things like that. And it's like, am I stressed? Am I anxious? Am I angry, or whatever it is? And then I can usually do that. But like we said, physically, me and you have like to go to the gym. So for us, that's our physical. That's where we take care of ourselves. And we also like to eat healthy, and we have like that 80-20 rule. We do it most of the time, but we do allow ourselves to go and have a good time because you need balance in your life. Now, some couples don't want to work out. Some of them don't even like working out. And that's okay. I mean, you can go get physically active by walking. You can go hiking.
I mean, like I said, you don't have to go to the gym. I mean, just being healthy in general, like just trying to eat healthier, like don't eat fast food every day, like put some more things in your life that are healthy. Like as a couple, you can go walk around your subdivision. You can go walk around the block. You can be active together. I mean, maybe you like to go play tennis or golf. I mean, golf, I mean, how far do you walk? I mean, you walk around the golf course. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's just be active as a couple so you can enjoy other parts of your life. I mean, the more physically active you are, the longer you're going to be around, especially when you do it together. I mean, you can enjoy People like nature. Some people don't. Some people want to go, like I said, you walk around the block. It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, a form of being healthy is, I mean, a sauna is extremely healthy for you. I mean, we bought a sauna, it cost us $140 on Amazon. It's a little tent pop-up thing. And I don't do it, but you do. And you can sit in the living room and watch TV while we talk or whatever. And it's a form of being healthy. There's so many different forms. I mean, we're still learning new forms of health, fitness, whatever, better ways to eat, and just different information. I mean, there's always a way to improve on that.
Yeah.
But as a couple, I think you need to improve on that together.
Well, and you
Like,
connect that way.
I
Like
mean,
we can connect and we can talk about
Yeah.
stuff.
It's one of those things where, like, if I'm going to eat healthy, you're going to do it. Like, if we go through a thing where, say, we're not going to go out drinking, like, then it's really hard to be healthy as a couple if you're both not doing it. Like,
Yeah.
if I decide, hey, I'm not drinking alcohol, but you decide you're going to pull some out and drink it, well, it's like, well, then it's really hard for me to fight the urge when I see it and see you doing it. But if we both stop, then we don't do it. If we both decide we're not going to eat fried foods, whatever. I mean, if we go out to eat and I get something that's really clean and you eat fried foods and I see it and smell it, you get that craving instead
Yeah.
of do it together. I mean, it's easier that way, especially when you're trying to do things to keep your relationship good, healthy together, because I can't find anybody that works out or stays healthy, or any article or any doctor or any health professional that won't tell you, even if you're healthier, like, you're going to enjoy sex more. You're going to enjoy
Yep.
all that stuff more if you're healthier and you're fitter.
Yeah. And I agree. So through our marriage, I know we each individually have gone through phases. But for me, I like I said, we've been working out together since we've been married. I wasn't as into the gym because growing up I was overweight, and then I started to lose some weight through some things going on in my life, and so I kind of got into the gym when we got married because you've always been very into it. So his love of it came on to me, and so I saw how much he likes it, and I went, and I just felt so empowered. And the more weight I lifted, I just felt good. It made me feel really good about myself. So then my goals were more, more, and more. And Landon's right there with me. Even if we didn't go together, we still both were active at the gym that week. We just were at different times, so we could talk about it. And then I started seeing the physical changes in my body, and obviously, when I feel good, I act better. I I want to be touched more. I want to be intimate with you, but there was a time where I stopped going. I literally stopped going to the gym for like a year. Maybe not that long, but it was a while. I don't remember why. I don't know. It's been a while. I don't remember why, but I can tell you, I started to gain the weight. And for me, as soon as my belly starts getting bigger and if my pants feel, that's like the worst for me. My thing is always I won't go up. I need to lose weight. If I feel like I have to get bigger jeans, no, you need to fucking lose weight. So I would start to feel that. And I think I actually bought a bigger pair of jeans and I was so mad at myself. But I didn't, through that time, like, I was depressed. Again, I don't know why. I don't remember, but because I wasn't taking care of myself physically and moving, then my mental health went down with it. Then our relationship went down because the intimacy of being connected wasn't there because I didn't want to be touched. Because I knew I felt gross, but I wouldn't do anything about it. So then I pushed that onto you. And who wants to touch someone who's saying, well, I'm fat? Well, don't look at there. Well, don't look at that. And it's like, what the hell am I supposed to do then?
My dad was always into working out. I mean, he was a marathon runner. He was an athletic trainer for the university when we lived in Indiana. So we were always around sports, athletics. Even in high school, like, my big thing was go to the weight room. I think I went to 2 school dances in high school because my excuse was always, no, I got to go to the weight room. I got to work out for football or wrestling or whatever it was. So I was always, what's the next thing I can take? Do I take protein or creatine or whatever? How do I get stronger? How do I get bigger? It was all about what's the next weightlifting record that I can maybe try to break at the high school. So the working out's always been something I've really liked. I started working out with a guy after high school that really got me into it. He taught me a lot. But the working out did just make yourself feel better. Like, with me, it's just the opposite. With me, like, I put a pair of pants on and the legs don't fit. And it's like, oh, well, obviously something's working, because you're getting bigger, you're getting stronger. And then eventually when you go to the gym, it's okay, what can I do this week? Because last week was this much. What can I do this week? And it becomes exciting because it's like I can see myself getting stronger because I know what I did the week before. Mm-hmm. When you stop going to the gym, it's like when it starts getting into your mind that you don't feel good and you let it keep going, like we've talked, that's one of my biggest turnoffs. Like if I go to touch you and you tell me don't, or don't touch my stomach, or don't touch this or whatever, like instantly I'm mad. Instantly I'm turned off, and it's like, fine, then I won't touch you. Like it makes me mad that you talk like that, because it's like, why would I want to touch you if you're saying don't touch me, I'm fat? Like as soon as you say I'm fat or I'm overweight, I'm immediately done. Like I don't want anything to do with you. Like I don't want to touch you. It's just, that's one of the number one pet peeves I have as a couple, is when you talk bad about yourself to me. Like I don't like it. I'm not saying nothing bad about you. Like they say when two people are having sex, like there's no man that's looking at someone's body saying, "Oh, look at this."
Is that true?
That's not the way it goes through your head. No, I mean,
Okay.
you're not looking at someone's stomach going, "Oh, look at your stomach." I mean, you're in the middle of doing something else. Like you're being close with that person, intimate with that person. If you were that turned off by that person, why were you even to that point
That's
to
true.
even get
Yeah.
to having sex? So most people, I mean, I get it. People go to a bar, people go here, and they're just trying to have that one night stand. But for a couple, if you're not attracted to the person, how are you in the middle of having sex? I mean, I know you have your basic human needs. You have to, you need it,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Okay, that's fine. But I mean, that's not what you're looking at. But yeah, that's one of the things that I instantly turns me off, is talking bad about yourself to me. Like that,
Yeah.
that's not what I want to hear.
Well, and if you think about it, so I mean, that's great that you were so basically so passionate about the fact of stop saying that about yourself. And if you think about it, if you take a step back, which it took me a little bit to figure out, because ever since I was younger, got bullied for being bigger, so all I hear in my head is you're fat, you're ugly, blah blah blah, all the things that people hear. So as I grow up, those are still in my head. So now I'm starting to verbalize words that people have told me. So when I get to this person who's the closest person I am to, and he gets mad about it, if I take a step back and look at it as a whole, that's a wonderful thing that you're like, stop talking such bad things about yourself because you don't see me that way. And that helped me because I've based those words are cut out of my vocabulary about myself. I don't ever say those words to myself anymore. I mean, obviously I'm not what I was, so that's great. And I'm not a fat person. I'm not that anymore. But it's so mentally hurtful to yourself. You believe anything that you say. I mean, any conversation you have in your head is not private because your body and your subconscious, it's all there. It hears it. So if you keep calling yourself those words, you're gonna become what you
Well, yeah,
are.
your mind takes over. I mean, the more you manifest it,
Yeah.
the more you're going to become that.
Yes.
So I mean, there's a big thing. I mean, people can, I guess, say what they want about the manifesting thing. I guess it's all a matter of opinion there, but I tell you, it's true. I mean, you can pull yourself out of a funk by telling yourself, don't be in this attitude, or
Mm-hmm.
don't be this way. What do I got to do to fix it?
Talk yourself into what you want to
Right.
become.
I mean,
The
that's
mental
that's a
state.
big thing. Like with our workout stuff, like I I personally don't like it. I know you do, but I don't like workout equipment at home. Like if I have equipment at home, I won't use it. Like my biggest thing is go to the gym. The hardest part is going. Once you get there, you can do it. It's make yourself go. I got to get in the car. I got to drive to the gym, and I got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I make sure I do it every day, whether it's some sort of cardio or weightlifting. Now, if it's downstairs, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it in 20 minutes. Yeah, I'll do it later. Yeah, I'll do it this afternoon. I never do it because it's just available instead of having to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I never have liked it. I know you. I mean, you do cardio downstairs, but
I
that's just
use it
not my
as
thing.
if I don't, then it's an excuse for me. If I go, well, I didn't, my time, I can't, so I can't do it. It's like, no, it's downstairs. Like, I get up earlier in the morning to do it before I do anything else, so I can't use that excuse anymore. Yes, I love going to the gym. Going to the gym is my favorite because the equipment's better. But if I want to actually include it in my life, I had to make adjustments to keep myself on track because I couldn't use that excuse anymore of, no, well, I couldn't make it to the gym, or it was winter and the roads were too slick because I hate driving in the winter, and I will use that excuse every winter. I don't want to go to the gym because the roads are slick. Well, good thing you don't got to worry about it because it's downstairs. You got to walk downstairs. So that's the only reason why I like it. But I definitely don't get that desire as much. Like when I'm downstairs working out, I enjoy the bigger equipment. I love putting those big weights on. So when I'm downstairs, I'm like, yeah, I did it. Wasn't as good as a gym, but I still did it.
Yeah,
I was still
something's
active.
better than nothing. I guess you have
Yeah.
the ability to do something. I mean, that emotional growth, I think that you have to do with each other is important. There's a lot of things where, I mean, I don't know. I hear mental health. I don't want to say they're not professionals. People talk about mental health on social media or podcasts or whatever, and said that they can't find one person. I don't know, the person more singled out females than they did males. That I'll bring you, I guess, your tattoos up. So they say that emotionally, most women that have a lot of tattoos is because they're covering, or they have had some sort of emotional damage, which I kind of put it off at first. Like I was like, yeah, whatever. Well, then you start thinking about like just everything that's happened in your past.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, there's some truth to that. Like you have some emotional damage that maybe we'll get into on another episode or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But at first you had a couple tattoos, and then it kind of becomes addictive.
Yeah, it does.
And then you wanted more, and you want more, and you want more. So there was a point at one time where I don't know that I was as okay with it, but let you do it because it's more of it's something that it's how you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with. But then it's like the more I see it, and the more I think the more you involved me in picking out what you did and did I like it, I think it made it easier. And I mean, there comes to a point where now I really like them. Like, I like the way it looks. Like, even we go to Vegas a lot. So even you see other girls around that have tattoos and just the way they're done. And I like the way they look. But there comes to a point where you need to grow from the emotional damage where enough's enough. I should be able to tell you, no, I don't want you to have a tattoo on your neck, or I don't want you to have a tattoo here.
On your
And
face.
you're going to be able to understand, okay, maybe I'm going too far with it. This is good enough.
There's going to be a certain point where I'm not covering my entire body with tattoos. I like them as an aesthetic look. But yeah, there's going to come to a point where I'm not going to be getting any more. I'm just going to be going in for touch-ups because I don't want to be 100%. Other people can, and I'm not saying anything against it, but that's just not what I'm going for. And I couldn't really figure out, not really that I was really looking too hard on why I was enjoying the tattoos. But as the more I go through it, the more I realize, in a way, the tattoos are a way for me to hide behind them. Because when you go and meet somebody and they see your tattoos, what are they going to talk about? Your tattoos, not you. So you can stand behind your tattoos because that's what they want to talk about. It's an easy conversation starter. It's easy to be like, yeah, that's great. Who do you go to? What do you do? It's, in one form, it's a way to hide behind them. And I realized that at one point. And then the other part of it, it's art. Like, I love art. And when we'd go get tattoos, like, it's a good thing Landon has some input because I see things all the time. Like, that's so cool. Oh, I like that. I'm all over the place. I like a lot of stuff. So my tattoos would have been very sporadic if you didn't have input because I like everything. I'm a little bit all over the place. So now I can see this as a phase of, I can see the art. I can see it and I really enjoy it. But yes, there's going to come to a point where, okay, I'm done. Like, I enjoy them and I want them, but there's only so much that you have. But you're right. It is very mental. It's a very mental thing and people don't realize that.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably have more, but I can't make up my mind
Yeah, you can.
for anything. It's going to be there forever. So trying to pick something. I mean, you like to hide behind stuff. I mean, you're not very, I don't want to say you're not outgoing, but you don't like to just go talk to new people.
No, I'm an introvert, extrovert.
I'll talk to people, but I'm not more of a hiding behind things type of person. Like, I mean, if you come up to me and want to talk to me, I've got the thing where I can be more of a dick. I look at you like, I don't understand why you're talking to me. I don't know you. Why are you talking to me? Unless I feel comfortable in the situation or like want to meet the person, I got the attitude of, I don't understand why you're talking to me. Go away. Like, I mean, the biggest thing, even at the gym, if I got my AirPods in and I'm at the gym and you interrupt my workout, instantly makes me mad. Like, if I got to take my earphones out to talk to you, why are you talking to me? Why are you here? I don't have a problem doing that. I'm not hiding behind anything. And most people don't come up and talk to me at the gym. I mean, I've got a pretty good
Resting dick face?
Yeah, I guess. I'm going to punch the first person that talks to me, just scowl on my face, which I'm not that way, especially if people know me. I mean, I'll talk to you, I'll help you out, but I just don't like being interrupted at the gym or other
Well, especially
places.
like it's like in the middle of a set.
Yeah,
Like be respectful. If you have a question or something, or people always ask him, "What are you doing?" Like everyone wants his input. I swear he like teaches people every time we're there. Everyone stops him and asks him, "What are you doing? What are you?" Everything. And Landon is more than happy to help, and he is super smart with all the stuff he knows. But yeah, when you do it when he's in the middle of a set, or like you like get right in front of his face, no one's gonna like that. I wouldn't like that. Like that's annoying as hell. So, when is it time to push your partner to grow with you? Or maybe they're not going to grow and you have to figure out basically the reality of what the situation is. I know we kind of hit on it at the beginning, but do
well, I don't
you,
know that there's really a point to do that. I think it's a you should be doing that all the time. You have to grow together because if you don't, you grow apart. So whether it's whether it's growing within an interest that's not yours, like if you have an interest that I don't have, maybe it's time for me to take a step back and maybe not get a full interest in that subject, but get enough of an interest or enough information in it that you're passionate about it so that if you talk, I can understand what you're talking about
yeah,
and grow with you and be excited that you're excited about something.
yeah,
Now, if it's a subject that that you can talk about and all of a sudden, okay, yeah, I like that subject, or I can get into that subject and we can grow in it together, that's fine. But if that other person is trying to grow regardless of the way, the subject, the whatever it is, then the other person needs to be on board with that a little bit because they are growing.
yeah, I
They
think
are
it's
they
the
are
support
yeah,
side.
you got to support that because they're growing and they're trying to better themselves like you whether it's health, fitness, mental health, whatever the topic is, emotional, um,
Getting hobbies
intimacy
that,
or whatever. If you're not always trying to get better, I think you're failing. Like you always should be trying to get better with what you do. How do I eat better? How do I work out better? How do I get stronger? How do we have better sex? How do we be more intimate with each other? How do we do any of those things? Should always be getting better. Should always grow towards something else because if you're not, you're stagnant.
yeah,
I mean, that's the same way with any part of your life. I mean, whether you're emotionally in your relationship, whether it's in your career, whether it's in anything you do, you should always be growing somewhere or trying to learn how to be better because if not, you sit still and you're stagnant. I heard a quote by Denzel Washington that says, don't get movement confused with progress because you can run in place and not go anywhere.
yeah,
So just because you're moving doesn't mean you're progressing.
the
And
busy
progressing
mode.
is part of growing and is part of getting better. So make sure whatever you're doing in your relationship is moving forward, progressing, learning, getting better, no matter what. It can be the littlest thing in the world where your partner's showing you something to the fact where if they're doing something to you as simple as touching your shoulder, maybe it's because that's what they're craving from you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just a subtle hint that you can get better at doing. It doesn't mean
Yeah,
it needs to be something huge, but try to be on that level where you're learning from each other.
yeah, yeah. Because I think we can learn from each other because we're two individual people who have two individual mindsets. We have dreams, desires. We have hobbies. We're individual people, and I think that's the greatest thing is that we're so
Well,
different, but we're so the same.
and
So we
your
can,
needs will change as
yeah,
well, or your wants.
mm-hmm,
That's all going to change. And I think people need to understand that there's a difference in a marriage between a need and a want. Just because you want something can make it selfish, but it doesn't mean it's a need that you need at that moment. Now, if you want something, it's something I think you can work together to achieve and to
mm-hmm,
get, but it doesn't mean you need to go out and get it right now because it's a want. It doesn't mean you need it.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
think
there's
people
a big
hide behind
difference.
their wants too.
Right.
They just I want, but what do you actually need? What's actually going to feed your soul? What's going to feed your marriage? What's going to feed your life? Instead of just covering up with superficial things and not really dealing with any of that kind of stuff can actually make your marriage regress. And I think it's just the reality that you're supposed to grow as a human being. You are supposed to grow and evolve. You're not supposed to stay still. You're not supposed to stay the same. So don't expect the other person to do that. You should be supporting them if they get this big dream and desire. Support them. I mean, hell, Landon didn't want to do this podcast with me. I just got this dream, this desire, and because he loves me so much, he started getting into it with me. He's sitting here with me to do it, and it wasn't his dream, it wasn't his desire, but he's supporting me through it. And eventually he may enjoy it. But as of right now, he's just here supporting me. He didn't say, "Well, that's stupid. Why are you doing that?" Like he was like,
Yeah,
"Okay."
I think I laughed
He
and thought, "Are you kidding me?
he sure did.
Like,
He sure did.
we're really gonna do this?" And I think I said, "Let me think about it," which I mean, I think she already knows the answer is going to be yes. It's just something I want to say. Let me think about it. I mean, I think she knew I was going to say yes, but it's something I was like, really? Like,
I had to let you come to terms with.
I've got to do this. Like, I don't want to, but whatever. I guess we'll do it. But I, I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't
mean,
know.
I mean, I don't know. Hopefully it grows. Hopefully it gets better. I mean, maybe one day we add a couple more chairs or whatever, and you have a couple guests on, and you can talk to other people and whatever else. I mean, that's also part of us
Of
growing
growing, yeah.
as a couple, doing something that, like I said, it's you're growing in something you want to do, trying to make yourself better and achieve something. It's not something that I really wanted to do, but it's part of getting on board with it and supporting what you're doing. I mean, there's I think there's many more podcasts to come, but there's
Mm-hmm.
anything from, like I said, getting on board with your tattoos. I mean, we'll talk about later. We started a photography thing, which started with nature, animals, which evolved to you being a photographer for model photography, boudoir, lingerie modeling, and then the photography kind of went down and it went into you being the model because I think you got more comfortable with your body,
Mm-hmm.
how you feel behind the camera when it turned into me taking the pictures. So there was a lot of growth in, I don't know, a 6 year period that
Yeah.
we totally changed everything we did. We used to be big NFL football watchers. Um, Partly because my family grew up on sports, your family liked NFL football, and I think here in the past year and a half, we've decided that's really not our thing. Like, you like the NFL football because your mom and dad liked NFL football. You liked NFL because your dad liked NFL, and you grew up watching it. So you think that you're liking something, but you've been conditioned to it because that's how you grew up. You like something because your parents had you watch it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You watched it with your parents. You had fun with it. Now, really, that was your dad's like,
Now, did I enjoy it? Yes, I love sports.
but you got
Love
into it
them.
because of your dad.
Yes.
It wasn't so. Now there's the thing is we started doing things as a couple and found out we like going to hockey. So we made that decision as liking hockey as a couple together. That's something we enjoy doing together, and so we started doing that together when we realized that, hey, the football, it's fun and we have a good time when we go. I like going to football games. My dad likes football. Your dad likes football. Well, I liked football because my dad raised me in that realm of things.
In the
Your
college
dad
phase of
raised
it.
you in that realm of
Mm-hmm.
things. So you grew up liking it because of how you were raised. Now we're making a decision as a couple that what we like to do is our decision without anybody's help. Me and
Mm-hmm.
you have decided that we like to go watch hockey. We like to go to Vegas. We like to do these things. And it comes to find out, well, yeah, I really don't care about NFL football because it's not, that wasn't my choice. It's how I
Yeah.
was raised. So the choice that we're making is we like this. And it's a little bit different than how you're raised. It's just a different mindset there. So it's another way we've grown together, something we've liked. Um,
Yeah, we really, you were really into college and I wasn't at all. I was very NFL just because, like you said, I was NFL, grew up that way. You grew up more collegiate with your
well,
dad.
and
And
until we
then,
experienced it, like
yeah, and went to a college game
your
that's
parents have
epic.
season tickets. Okay, that's fun. Now we've been to a few games, quite a few games.
Quite a few.
So now we a couple years ago went to a game in the University of Florida, and you got to experience that college atmosphere.
Oh, so
And then you
awesome.
go back and you compare the two and find out the NFL doesn't even compare
Does not.
to the college football atmosphere because of the excitement, the energy. Well, then we go start watching professional hockey. And last year, what we went to this game one of the Stanley Cup, and the energy there was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was
And it was just
insane.
so much more fun than the NFL football. And we got to experience some things together and grow together and decide, hey, we like this better.
Hmm.
Well, maybe the NFL thing wasn't our thing. If we're going to spend the time and go on a vacation and do things together, it better be something that we want to do, not just something I want to do or something you want to do. It has to be a mutual agreement. Or if I get to do something that I want to do, then you should be able to pick something you want to do and me not have to disagree with that decision.
Well, yeah, how many times, I think every time we scheduled a trip to Denver, which we love going to Denver and things like that, but every time we went to the game, I always heard, well, this is your trip. Like, I'm going for you, but this would not be my choice. And I think we haven't gone for what now, 3 years?
It's probably been 4.
4. We've had some things with family come up that bumped a couple of our trips. And then this year it was just, I just wasn't feeling it. Not at all. And I don't know. I remember going up to you and I'm like, so how about we don't go to a game this year? And your freaking face, you were like, oh, thank God, finally. And we have a ninth game coming up next month that we're going to, and I'm super stoked. I'm excited for that. Like, I'm actually looking forward more than I would going to an NFL game, because we've gone to tons of games.
I mean,
and
I
it's
think
like,
your parents officially got their season tickets probably 2 years or 3 years after we got married, because the first game we went to when we were dating, we set up in the top of the stadium. So, I mean, we've been to games for 17 years.
Yeah.
So it's fun. The hockey thing's only been, what, the past 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
And the Vegas thing, it's kind of the Golden Knights. It's fun. Vegas is fun, but part of us growing too, like, we've met a lot of really cool people along the way.
mm-hmm.
And later on, I don't know what when we're going to talk about, but I mean, we're part of the reason we go to Vegas. We're going to the hockey game, but we like we talked about growing. I mean, Jade does pictures now. She's does the model thing, and I got a photo shoot coming up with a lady named Ashley, and she's an awesome person. One of the best photographers that I know of. She's just amazing. And we got to, what was it, 3 years ago? We've been following her on social media for quite a few years.
Yeah.
Finally got to do a photo shoot with her maybe 4 years ago, 3 years ago.
I think maybe 3 was my first one ever that was a professional one. But she definitely helped. That's another area of growth that by doing one thing, it's a stepping stone. We got more and more and more. And when I finally got brave enough, I think you kind of forced me to message Ashley and ask for a shoot. It's not that I didn't want to. It's like I was just scared to death.
Well, that's
of a
part of
professional,
that.
because I didn't have control of it.
Yeah,
And it scared
it's
me.
helping you grow. I know we've been taking pictures, so you wanted to do it, but you just didn't have the guts to actually ask.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, you need to do this. And you keep putting it off because you just don't want to reach out. And then finally it's like, hey, enough's enough. Contact her, because we need to do it. And it becomes more of a forceful, but then you did it and you were like, wow, that was awesome. But it's like, you almost had to be that more of a forceful push to do it, because I knew you actually wanted to.
Yeah. And I think I was almost more scared to almost interact with her. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know how she was going to act. And taking intimate photos with somebody else, I know I didn't want a male. I knew I wanted a female, and her pictures are so great. And she seemed great on social media. I didn't know her. And then when I first met her, it was like instant. She makes you feel great and amazing. And it's just such a good experience the whole way through. I didn't feel uncomfortable at all. Landon was there through the whole thing. And we've done another shoot with her, and it's the same way. She's the same person every time I'm with her. That was, like I said, that was a way we grew, and it's something that we can do together. Even though I'm the one who's behind the camera, you're still there supporting me, and I need that. Like, I literally need you there to support me, because I wouldn't enjoy it as much, because I need that. I need to know that this is something you support in, and not many males would. This isn't something that we kind of do uncommon things, I think. And some of the stuff we do, people don't get it. It's not a married couple thing, but we do.
But there's at some point where you got to realize too that just because somebody else doesn't understand it or get it or agree with it, it's I don't care. I don't care what anybody else thinks about it. Like, I've always kind of been that way. I don't care what your opinion is. I mean, I don't care. Like, if you don't like something I say, I really don't care. I mean, I'm not forcing you to do it. I'm not telling you to do it. We found what works for us, and if we're okay with it and we're living our lives, I don't care what your opinion is.
Yeah.
It's just, sorry. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and try to make you feel better about what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is not affecting you.
Yeah.
I don't care what you're doing as a couple. I don't care what this person's doing as a couple. I don't care what you're doing, as long as it's not affecting me. And you can go do whatever you want. But if you affect my life, then okay.
Yeah.
But that's to where we've grown enough as a couple. I think that it's what we do just affects us,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not forcing anybody else to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not forcing you to be okay with it, and in that matter, I'm not even asking you.
Yeah.
Like I just don't care. We figured it out, and it works. So
We don't even talk about it with other people because that's how unimportant anyone else's opinion is that
yeah,
it's not something that I have to even share with
like
other people.
if we're trying to achieve something or create a better life or whatever it is, I think I said it in the last podcast that if you're not doing something that I want or living the life that I want, why would I care about your opinion or ask you for your advice? If you don't have what I want or the things I want or the life I want, then obviously your opinions are relevant because what you're doing is not achieving what I want.
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue to do it my way. And yes, there's nothing wrong with asking people their opinions along the way. We hang out with couples. We go over to their house and hang out and they're all joking and they're a great bunch of people. And some people that maybe, hey, if you needed some advice or ask them a question, I think they're the kind of people that would give you the honest opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want the friend that's not always the friend that's, hey, yeah, you're right,
It's
right, it's okay,
okay.
whatever. I mean, you want that friend that's going to be there and be like, hey, why are you being a jackass? Knock it off. No, that's not right. You need a wake-up call. I think that's the way me and you have grown as well. There's been times, I don't know if you pick out a specific instance, but you've done something and I've been like, what the hell are you doing? No, we're not going to do that. Or there's an event and we have to go. No, I don't have to go. It's my life. No, that's not the way it is. We're not just obligated to do something. And I think we've had to have that conversation of no. People are afraid to use that term. Like
To say it. Yeah.
no, I'm not doing that. I'm an adult. I don't have to do that. Or in that term can be overly used too, I think, because when we're trying to grow, every idea you come to me with or thing you want to do, if my response is no, I don't like that, that's stupid, then that's a little bit of a way of belittling what you want to do. And
Yeah.
if you're always getting shot down, why are you going to keep trying?
Mm-hmm.
It comes to that point where no is a good thing if you as a couple are making a decision no together.
To say no to something that's not supporting you
Yes.
and the life
Now,
you want.
if your spouse comes to you and says, I want to try this, in reason, I mean, it can't be, I don't think it can be totally off the wall to where it's going to make one person so uncomfortable
Yes.
or it's going to be
Yeah.
detrimental to your relationship.
Yes.
But if that person comes to you with an idea and wants to do something or try something, we'll be on board with it. Try it. Because how do you know it's not going to work until you try?
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing is just try.
Yeah.
Try.
And
It may
if
go
doesn't
somewhere,
work,
it may not.
okay.
Yeah.
But we tried. When we go to Vegas, we try to do different things. Okay, well, no, I don't want to do that. Well, why? I just don't want to do it. Well, how do you've never tried it? Like, okay, let's try it. Did it work? Did it not? Did you have a good time? Okay, you had a good time, but you didn't like this. Okay, well, maybe we can adjust the way we did it or whatever else. Or when you first started taking pictures, well, I don't feel comfortable behind the camera because I don't want people to see, I don't feel good about my body. Well, let's try it. Okay, so we try it and it works out and now you enjoy doing it. So it's like, wow, well, you tried it and it worked out. Well, what was worst case scenario? Didn't
People
like it?
were going to say bad things about me on the internet.
Right. Okay. So
That was worst case scenario.
and then my response to that is okay, well, if we're going to continue to grow, why does an opinion of somebody you've never met matter to you?
Yes. See?
So that's just the way I look at it. If someone's out there and they want to say something bad about you because your picture's online.
Being a troll.
Yeah, internet troll, you sit behind a computer. Okay. Well, they say something bad about you, it's like, oh, okay, who cares? I don't know this person. I'm never going to see this person. Why does their opinion of me matter?
And I think we allow the trolls way too much
Yes.
fucking right
And
for that
social
shit.
media and the way of the internet and the way of the world now has made that so relevant. It's unbelievable because 99 probably percent of internet trolls out there, if they said that to someone in real
Yeah, in
life
their
in
face.
person, they get punched in the mouth. But they sit behind a computer because they know they're protected because
Yes.
they're behind a computer. If you want to write something bad about me online, a rude comment on a picture you've taken, okay, like why do you honestly think I care about your opinion?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, what about me, if you knew me, makes you think I give a crap about your opinion about me at all or anything I do? I just don't care. If what I'm doing If you're okay with it and we've talked about it and we're good with it, then I don't care what the person behind the computer says.
Well,
And I really don't care what my parents think at that point because it's not their life. It's what me and you have decided is okay because we're growing together as a couple and we've decided it's okay.
mm-hmm.
And if it's not, then we'll talk about it.
Yeah. And I think you as a person have always been very strong in who you are, strong in your beliefs. I'm kind of the opposite. So I have learned a lot from you. I have grown a lot from you, from your example, from you pushing me to be better, to not give a shit what anyone thinks. That's been extremely huge. I know just in my life, I'm so much easier now of saying what I think, what I feel. And really that's why this podcast came out, was because this is another fear of mine. I don't like cameras, video cameras. For some reason, when it's a photo, it's because if the photo is taken, you can adjust it. You cannot use that one. You can do that, but video cameras, or it's real time, and I feel like they're less forgiving. And I've always had a thing about my voice. I've always felt, I don't know. I've had comments about my voice, good or bad, and so even just expressing myself is hard and scary. And that, for me wanting to grow, that was another reason why I wanted to start this podcast, because I wanted to be brave enough to talk on camera, video it, and put it out there. Because if I can do it with photography, why can't I do the next step and do it in a podcast and talk about things that matter? And I just felt like it was another area for growth. And I thought someone will care. Someone will listen. I don't care if you agree or not, but I'm just hoping that by me being brave doing this and talking about things, someone else is going to get something out of it. I will be able to help someone else. We will be able to help somebody else to be better. And that's all I'm trying to do. That's it.
I mean, I've never been, I mean, I don't like my picture taken. It's just not me. I don't need to be behind the camera. I think my biggest fear with the video is it's going to happen. I'm going to say something that's going to offend somebody because I just usually, I don't care what you think about me. I mean, it's not important to me, but people got to realize when they listen to a podcast or us that what we're saying is what works for us.
It's an opinion.
It's an opinion. I'm not a professional. I'm not a marriage counselor, whatever. This is what's worked for us. So maybe if you're listening to it, you can try what we've tried. And if it works for you, that's awesome. But that can also be part of whoever's listening, their growth. If they listen to us and they try what we've done, then they try something. And then maybe they can discuss it and it's working for them. So great. And if it doesn't work, then discuss that as a couple and say, hey, that didn't work. We got to try something else, or we got to do something else, or whatever. Maybe they just enjoy listening to people talk about a podcast, but they got to realize that just because it's my opinion, don't take offense to what I believe, because that doesn't mean I'm telling you to believe what I believe. I'm just giving you my opinion. So doesn't mean you got to believe it. Doesn't mean you got to do it. But if you want to try what we're doing, then great, because we've succeeded in it. Doesn't mean it's going to succeed for every couple.
No.
Because not everybody's the same way. If you're offended, you don't have to watch. There can be things that may be said that will offend you, but you just really got to keep in mind that no one's telling you how to live your life. It's, here's what we're doing. And at that point, I don't care if you like what we're doing, because it's working for us.
That's the thing, is life is choice. You get to choose to listen, to watch, to ingest anything you want to. So that's up to you.
That's what's great about a podcast is if you listen to a podcast, no one's telling you what to do. If you actually truly listen to the podcast, someone may be giving you information.
They're teaching.
Someone may be just throwing their information out there. Someone may be telling you what I did, or, okay, I'm doing this or whatever. And now it's up to you. Do you believe that information? Do you want to dig more into that information? Do you want to try that? Okay, well, I'm not telling you, yes, you have to do it this way or you're not going to succeed, because I'm telling you, this isn't going to work for everybody.
No.
This 100% won't work for everybody. So it's all, do you want to try it or not? There's probably, I don't know, there's probably a good majority it won't work for, but maybe someone knows this isn't going to work for them because they know how their relationship is, but they just like listening to what we talk about. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just depends.
All podcasts, I think, do is you either learn from them. Hopefully you learn from them. Maybe you get some humor, they make you feel good, Or maybe you just want to connect with somebody. Maybe you just want to know that you're not the only one who feels this way, who's had this problem. I think that's a big thing, is connecting.
Well, maybe even if it does make you angry, or you're offended by something one of us says, or makes you mad, or I can't believe you said that, or why would you say it that way? Well, maybe that's the opportunity you have to step back a minute and go, well, why did that make me mad?
Yeah.
Why what they just said, did that make me mad? Well, maybe because it's something that you're dealing with, and maybe it's a wake up call for you to fix what you're dealing with. Maybe you need to have a better relationship with your spouse. Maybe you need to go to the gym. Maybe you need to have a better mental health. There could be a lot of reasons why it made you mad, and maybe there is no reason. Maybe you just don't like what we're talking about. I mean, that's okay too. That's part of life. The world's not all sunshine and roses and rainbows. It's just, you're never going to make everybody happy. You're never going to be 100% this way or that way. People are not going to agree with you. And if people are always agreeing with you, then you're not doing the right thing. You can't be a yes man.
No.
You have to have an opinion. You have to have standards. And there's certain standards that you have to set for yourself, that this is a line that I'm not going to let cross. Now, in a relationship, those need to be set out so that your spouse knows what that standard is. Mm-hmm. Because if that line keeps getting crossed, I'm telling you that's something that you don't bend on. A standard is something that doesn't break. So if that line keeps being crossed, then something needs to be done about it. Because if you have a standard, I'm not telling you need to bend. I'm not telling you that you need to have a conversation with your spouse, that you need to move your standard, because in my opinion, when you have a standard, it is what it is. So if it keeps getting crossed, there needs to be a conversation as you keep overstepping this boundary I have, and it's not acceptable. Mm-hmm. And maybe it needs to be blunt like that. I'm not going to accept you more. It's unacceptable because of this reason. And make sure if you're going to give something like that, you have a reason for it, that you have an explanation as to why, and you can actually have the conversation in a manner that's not offensive, so that maybe that person understands.
Yeah, bring it to the level that they need.
Yeah, because everything you do, your wife's not going to be happy with. That's just not the way of the world. I mean, it doesn't work that way. It's just something you got to live and learn from.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is we're going to live and learn, and we're going to grow, and that's the whole goal for us, is to grow. So, and that's the thing, is while you're growing, you need to nourish your partner along the way. So make sure that you're both growing. You're going to grow at different speeds. You're going to grow in different directions, but help each other grow, support each other. You may not agree, but as long as it's helping them grow and being positive, grow with them.
But if it is in another direction, I think you need to make sure that you involve your partner enough that they can go to that other direction with you, or at least be on board with that other direction, so that you don't grow apart.
Yes.
I mean, even if you're going in a different direction, don't keep growing on your own in that direction, and include your partner. That way you don't grow apart.
Yes. And I think that's great. Make sure you grow together. Okay, guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for joining us on another of our Backroads to Us podcast. We'll see you next Wednesday.